And today on our Dear Claire series, we are talking about trees. So I have a tree that is on my neighbor's property, but the limbs are on mine. And what can I do about it? So there's kind of three options here about what happens with trees on whose property and what, right? So the trunk is on my neighbor's property and the limbs are on mine. Can I trim it? Why, yes, you can. So weird fun fact about real estate is I own the airspace above the land that I own. I know that's really esoteric and weird, but it's true. So what does that mean? That means that if the limbs are in my airspace, I get to trim them. Now, there's a big caveat to that. If I trim the limbs and the tree dies, then we have a problem because now my neighbor has an issue with me and my trimming. So if you're going to trim any limbs that are on your property, you want to make sure you do it in a way that is actually going to take care of the tree and not damage the tree. So that's the first thing. What if the tree is on my property and the limbs are on the neighbor's property? Same thing applies. You could go over there, ask permission to be on your neighbor's property and trim the limbs as you see fit. Or they are allowed to trim the limbs if they see fit and if they do it in a way that's going to preserve the health of the tree. If the tree is in that berm, you know, City of Portland has the berm that the city owns the area between the sidewalk and the curb, but you might have trees planted in it. The city can come in and trim the tree. Now, I'm sure you've seen all those trees all over the city that have been poorly trimmed by the PGE or Pacific Power. Of course, you can't sue them if they mess up with the tree canopy, but they can indeed trim the trees. And they will. So my advice to you is if it's your street tree, you might do that trimming yourself so that you don't rely on the power company to do a bad job. And they have actually in the last few years tried to make strides in like hiring arborists to do it well, but they don't always do a great job. And then 3, there's the third type of tree, which is really a tree is literally on the border of everyone's property. You know, there are some really big trees out there that just straddle my neighbor's property, my property, and how do we handle that? So, of course, it's like the old adage with, you know, splitting the baby. You can't split the baby. So don't do anything to the tree without talking to your neighbors. If you've got a tree that's on the corner of 3 or 4 properties, which I have definitely seen, you want to have a conversation with your neighbors before you go trimming their trees, or your tree, frankly. And I know that I made this probably more complicated than it should be, and maybe more than you wanted to know, but definitely think about it. Talk to your neighbors, talk to the city, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. As always, it's a pleasure to see you today. And if you can't get enough, go on over to our Paris Group Realty YouTube channel. We've got all kinds of stuff over there as well for you, and we'll see you next week. Take care.